Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivratchakacharya Shotra Shotra Shishimati Randi Goswami Sangvesh Shila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Oh glories to the assembled devotees Oh glories to the assembled devotees Oh glories to the assembled devotees Oh glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga All glories to Swami Srila Prabhupada Oh ja, es ist der 313 Madhya Lila. So what is the language of the class? English? English, okay. So we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Quickly to confirm that I'm at the right spot with our Kesha Madhava. Yeah, Madhya. 20, Madhya 24, 313. So, is there a book or I just find it on my phone? Okay. Book is nicer than the phone. There's more Shakti inside. Jai, thank you. So we are in the chapter explanations of the Atmarama verse, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking to Sanatana Goswami, if I remember properly, and he's giving very, very detailed explanations on the Atmarama verse. You can see also what amazing scholar Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, and taking all the giving explanations to each of the words and different explanations. So that's quite amazing to see that. So 313. Many verses in this chapter. So there we are. Almost done. Okay, then I will start. Aham vedmi shuko veti. Vya.
That's not what she's writing, just a second.
Oh, okay. Okay. The most important is the endeavor, so we very much appreciate that. So then, now we do it the Vedic version. There is nothing written on the board. You have to just remember by mind. So it's good to wake up, no? Aham vedmi shuko veti. Vyaso veti na veti va. Bhaktya bhagavatam grayam. Na budhya nacha tikaya. Aham vedmi shuko veti. Vyaso veti na veti va. Bhaktya bhagavatam grayam. Na budhya nacha tikaya. Can someone remember the verse and chant? Aham vedmi shuko veti. Bhaktya bhagavatam grayam. Na budhya nachatikaya. You want to chant, Yamuna? You have it on the screen. Aham vedmi shuko veti. Vyaso veti na veti va. Bhaktya bhagavatam grayam. Na budhya nachatikaya. Aham, I, in brackets Lord Shiva. Vedmi, no. Shuka, Shukadev Goswami. Veti, knows. Vyasaha, Vyasadev. Veti, knows. Na vetiva, or may not know. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Executed in 9 different processes. Bhagavatam, the Bhagavata Purana, and there in brackets, called the Paramahansa Samhita, the text or treatise readable by the topmost transcendentalists. Called the Paramahansa Samhita, the text or treatise readable by the topmost transcendentalists. Yeah, Paramahansas. Grayam, to be accepted. Na, not. Buddhya, by so-called intelligence or experimental knowledge. Na, nor. Cha, also. Tikaya, by imaginary commentary. So Lord Shiva said, I may know, Shukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, and Vyasadeva may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Devotional service includes 9 processes, beginning with hearing, chanting, and remembering the activities of Lord Vishnu. Only one who has taken to devotional service can understand Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the spotless Purana for a transcendentalist, Paramahansa. So-called commentaries are useless for this purpose. According to the Vedic injunction, Yasya deve para bhaktir, yata deve tata guru. All Vedic literatures maintain that Srimad Bhagavatam has to be learned from the person Bhagavata. And to understand it, one has to engage in pure devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be understood by so-called erudite scholars or grammarians. One who has developed pure Krishna consciousness and has served the pure devotee, the spiritual master, can understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Others cannot. Aham vedmi shuko vetti vyasa vetti na vetti va bhaktya bhagavatam grayam na buddhya na chatikaya. Lord Shiva said, I may know, Shukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, and Vyasadeva may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Vaschata Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nityananda Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalokalmashanashaya Janavapate Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is the explanations of the Atmarama verse, quite at the end of the chapter. Well, still going for a while, it's a long chapter. Where now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting Lord Shiva. It's actually not mentioned from where. It's interesting how how Shiva is saying, I may know, Shukadev Goswami may know, Vyasadeva may know, or may not know. Like indicating to our intelligence or our own power or faculty to understand. And then he gives like on the whole kind of but, like the essence, the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service. Not by material intelligence, speculative methods or imaginary commentaries. And there in Prabhupada, in the word for word, he puts in brackets by Bhagavatam, called the Paramahansa Sanghita. Does anyone know how to operate because it's a bit too much volume and then there's this squeak, so that's disturbing. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Just, yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Shikshastakam Prabhu. I was also very much appreciating your kirtan yesterday. I wanted to actually go, and I was like, oh, this kirtan is so nice. It's hard for me to go. So just to mention on a side note. So yeah, in brackets to the Bhagavad Purana called the Paramahansa Sanghita, the text or treatise readable by the topmost transcendentalists, like the Bhagavatam who Kaitavotra Nirmatsaranam Satam, who rejects all cheating religions, and in the sense cheating not like in a like I cheat you, I promise you to give you money but I don't or something, but cheating religions in the sense all the scriptures which are into karma or jnana yoga, who by I do something and then I get, or I develop knowledge and by this knowledge I can get liberation. That is there mentioned as cheating religion, because actually you're cheating your soul, which is ultimately only wants the relationship and love for Krishna. And that's the Amala Purana, which is only there for Prema Pumartu Mahan, the highest goal of the human life, which is love of Krishna. That's what Bhagavatam is vibrating, what is emanating, what's the whole essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put so much stress on the Bhagavatam. To hear the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada put a lot of stress on the Bhagavatam. Our whole Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition put so much stress on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then in the purport, it's interesting, Prabhupada comes in this connection to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. He comes with a very famous verse. I may even call it a Prabhupada verse. Some of those verses Prabhupada often quotes, like when we put it in, at least in Pocket Vedas, which is limited, there's many purports where Prabhupada brings this verse, Yassa deve parabhaktiryata deve tataguro. And in one purport where Prabhupada brings it isn't actually in Bhagavad Gita. To the purport of the famous verse 647, Yoginam api sarvesham mat gattenantaratmana shravan bhajate omam same yuktatamo mata. In the chapter of Yogi, Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of absorption meditation. And the conclusion of that chapter is that, and of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, always is in dhyan, in absorption in me, in Krishna, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. This is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. And there, it's a long purport, far down, Prabhupada says, where he's referring what is mentioned in the verse, this stage of highest perfection of yoga can be attained only by bhakti yoga. Again, here we can understand Srimad Bhagavatam only by bhakti yoga, as confirmed in all Vedic literature. And then he comes with the whole verse, Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru tas yaite katita hi arta prakashante mahatmanaha. And I was trying to look for a word-for-word translation. I didn't find it, but this is from Shvetashvar Upanishad, 623. Only unto those great souls, these Mahatmanas, who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So faith in Krishna and the spiritual master, the knowledge is revealed. So we try definitely to invest our intelligence into Bhakti Yoga to try to understand it. But here it's said, na buddhya na chatikaya, not by material intelligence, not what to speak of speculative methods or imaginary commentaries, one can understand Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhakti. And the key, the pathway what Prabhupada explains is this faith in Krishna and the spiritual master. Faith means in their instructions, in their instructions. Like we have a lot of places in our whole sadhana which indicate that. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada yasya prasada nagati kutopi. We sing every morning, at least those who go to Mangalarti. That by the mercy of the Srila Prabhupada, mercy of the spiritual master, we get the mercy of Krishna. And this implies faith, that we trust the spiritual master, that we trust Prabhupada, that what he has to give us, we get mercy. Then at the Guru Puja, Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakatmi, his lotus feet are the place of Kevala Bhakti, pure devotional service, pure devotion. And Chakudana Dilade Jamne Prabhu Chakudan Dibya Gyan Hrida Prakashita. He reveals transcendental knowledge in our heart. Again, there we have revelation. So when we study the spirit and the mood, what is coming in our Shastra, we are a revelatory tradition. We are focused actually on serving, on surrendering to Guru and Krishna. By this knowledge gets revealed. And surrender is also another, if we surrender, it also implies faith. We need to, like the Norwegian, I think he's a Norwegian philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard, a leap of faith. He speaks about this leap to jump, of investing, like, okay, let me have faith, let me try to do something where I might not know where I end up, but by what I've experienced so far, it seems very, very tangible, very, very promising that when I make this leap of faith, something will come back. So here, in this verse, Yasadeve Parabhaktir, Prabhupada explains actually what it means to practice this devotional service. He addresses this faith in Guru and Krishna. And at the end, one of Prabhupada's very clear and strong words, one who has developed pure Krishna consciousness and has served the pure devotee, here again the pure devotee, the spiritual master, can understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Others cannot. So it makes it very clear that this Amala Purana can be understood by devotional service. Nashta Presha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam Bhagavata, the constant service to Bhagavata, the pure devotee, and to Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Then Bhaktir becomes an irrevocable fact in our heart. And Bhakti comes into our heart. It's something we receive, we are actually asking for. And that's why the understanding what is the qualification to receive this Bhakti is this lolyam, this intense greed, because we cannot produce it, manifest it by ourselves. We are constantly actually depending and praying for and begging for this Bhakti to come in our heart. And speaking of this Bhakti, I looked into the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That's the one with the commentaries from Jiva Goswami and Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur, where the definition of Bhakti is given in the famous verse, Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anu Kulyena Krishnanu Shiranam Bhakti Uttama. That the highest Bhakti is defined as continuous service or emotions directed towards Krishna. His expansion, forms or other related to him, like the spiritual master, with a pleasing attitude toward Krishna. It should be devoid of desires other than the desire to please the Lord, and unobstructed by impersonal jnana, the materialistic rituals of karma, or other unfavorable acts. Is it clear? Oh, you understood?
Yeah, not everything, but it's okay.
Okay, we can then look at this. Like this, have you heard of this verse before? Anya bilashita shunyam? No, okay. This is a very important verse in our bhakti tradition. You may know the book Nectar of Devotion, like the Nectar de Hingabe.
Yeah.
Then that book Prabhupada translated. Actually, it's a compilation of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, the ocean of the nectar of the taste which Bhakti gives. So this is actually, that's our one of the most important books in our tradition coming from Rupa Goswami. It's really explaining what is Bhakti Yoga. So if you, I can encourage you or suggest to you to read the book Nectar Hingabe. It's really, I think, do you still in the morning after Mangalarti read from Nectar Hingabe? Yeah, that's the book you're every morning reading from. It's different in different temples. Some read different books after that. So I think, but here that's really established. So this verse actually defines bhakti. It explains what is bhakti in our, what does that actually mean? So it means as continuous, as something which we practice every day. And on a side note, I learned from, I have the luck of having a wife which is like an ocean of knowledge, and she's again and again, I'm sorry to say this, but she's again and again giving me a lot of good information on devotional service. So she heard by the class of Hariparshad Prabhu that when it's spoken of continuously nityam in our Shastra, we may sometimes come a bit under pressure and think, always, 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 like every second of my life. Yes, that's our goal. When we see the gopis of Vrindavan, it's every split second of their life they think about Krishna. It's only Krishna. They condemn Brahma that they have eyelids that they can't see Krishna for that when they blink for the eye. That's highest level of bhakti. But the continuous nityam, continuous idea is that we do this regularly every day. That's the idea of sadhana, that every day we come in contact with Krishna, with hearing about Krishna, remembering Krishna, chanting his name. That means nityam. So not like, oh, today was Mangalarti, nice. Tomorrow, oh, no Mangalarti, no chanting, nothing. So this regularity. So we continuous service or emotions directed towards Krishna. And it's nice here in the translation, it's like Prabhupada put a lot of stress on bhakti, that's devotional service, it's an activity. But here it's also said that there are emotions directed to Krishna. And then it's further explained how these emotions should look like. Like there's a lot in the book, there's a lot of description also of like Shishupal, who had emotions towards Krishna, but they were negative. He hated Krishna. He was blaspheming Krishna. And then at one point, Krishna went the chakra and his head was off. So the emotions in bhakti are with a pleasing attitude towards Krishna. It has to be favorable with the intention, I want to give pleasure to Krishna or the spiritual master. Like all the avatars and the forms related to Krishna, and one of the forms is the spiritual master. One even can say that the Vaishnavas are expansions of Krishna because they carry Krishna in their heart. Or to somewhat they have Krishna, they chant his holy name, they remember him. So there also with a favorable attitude when we serve Vaishnavas, when just Vaishnavas come in our area, we should just switch on all the buttons of, oh, these people, I will serve them with all my kindness and good emotions I have. That's also included in there. So, and then that's the positive side, and the other side, can you follow? Do you understand now? Yeah, good. It's important. It's a very important verse. I guess it's because of the language. It's a bit...
difficult.
Okay, yeah.
I learn English, so...
Yeah, it's the English class also. Okay. Don't ask me about any grammatics. I can't explain, but just listen. There also she's better. Anyway, so, and then the negative side is that it should be free of the desire by impersonal jnana, which is very much connected to I try to understand transcendence, that what is beyond material energy, with my own intelligence, which is in this verse we're reading today is totally rejected, totally doesn't work. Like Prabhupada says, others cannot. Point. Finished. And then the materialistic rituals of karma. A lot of the Vedic scriptures are about this karma kanda. I want money, a lot of money. I worship a certain demigod in a certain ritual, and money should come. So it's this mentality of I do something and I get something for it. So both of these attitudes, it's not an activity, it's actually a mindset, a way of feeling. That, I go, whoops, no problem. Confirmed, yes. So we come to bhakti, and we chant and we practice, and we think, by this chanting, I will be liberated of material suffering. That's a mukti mentality. Because the holy name is powerful, we feel it, and we feel, bliss is there, some relief. Like one of the symptoms also described in Nectar of Devotion is that, is it nectar? I'm not sure, but it's like the holy name is like the rising sun. It starts getting light. That's like Namabhas. Like when it gets morning, the sun is not there yet. Krishna's not fully shining there in Shuddhanam, but the light is there, and we feel already suspiciousness coming. And part of this suspiciousness, we become liberated actually by material nature, and we feel that. So if we start chanting or practicing bhakti to get that liberation, that's a jnana mentality. Then a karma mentality is, I chant, I do devotional service, and I feel good. I want to get something from it. Or I say, like that's big issue I have. If I have good rounds in the morning, then I'm good. Then I feel good. Then I get something back. Or I go to kirtan. I want to play mridanga and show how good I play mridanga. That's a karma mentality. I want to get something. I want to. Oh yeah, you like the kirtan. Oh yeah, thank you. Was good kirtan, like that. That's a kind of a karma mentality. I want to get something back. So these two mentalities in bhakti, it's not, if these are in, it's not pure bhakti. So then I always feel, because in tendency I observe devotees are like, let's say, very broadly said, there's two personality types. There's the personality type who takes everything very serious, is very critical of himself, and very strict with himself. And then there's the personality type who's very lenient, said, I made a mistake, yeah, no problem, easy, So I often see that amongst devotees, often the most attitude we have, we are very strict and critical with ourselves. So when we hear that, no karma, no jnana, and then, no, again, this mind is coming with this karma, jnana mentality, we can become overly strict with ourselves. And later I will go to another verse here, which is given by Rupa Goswami, which also calms that down. We are on a continuum. We are on a process from lust to love, from selfishness to selflessness. And somewhere in between we're there. and we have parts in ourselves which are truly wanting to serve Krishna and to please Krishna. These are there, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here. And there are parts in us who still have this jnana and karma mentality. So to be kind on ourselves, it's a good, or I think it's a very healthy way to look at ourselves that, yes, I have parts of this karma and jnana mentality, but I also have a part which genuinely wants to serve Krishna. And the wonderful thing with Krishna is, who is a very, 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 very nice person, he sees that positive part in us who wants to serve. And especially when we come to him and say, hey, Krishna, you see, I have these impurities or this karma and jnana mentality in my heart. I'm very sorry. I've been in this material world for many lifetimes and I've accumulated this. But I have a small side in me who actually wants to serve you. And this honesty and this straightforwardness, I feel Krishna very much appreciates. One of my services I did many years is playing Mridanga in Kirtan. And I would go to Kirtan, oh Krishna, I only want to play Mridanga for you. And it was somewhat quite tough. Up to the point I realized that I wasn't really honest with Krishna. I definitely didn't only want to play Mridanga for you because I was relishing, I have this musical side in me, so I kind of enjoy that. So I go to, and I say, I go to Krishna and say, look, I really enjoy playing this, I like to do it, but there's also a side in me who wants to do this for you. And immediately became blissful because I was honest and I could say, Krishna, that's how I am, and this part, where I'm on the continuing to lost and love, I'm there, and that 40% or 30% I can offer to you, which is only for you. And he was very much appreciative. So that is this verse. And then one of the major points also of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes that Bhakti can be performed. There are two ways of this bhakti. There is Vaidhi Bhakti, according to rules and regulations of the scriptures, and there is the Raga Nuga Bhakti, the spontaneous, we often translate as the spontaneous devotional service, here especially stated, which is not dependent or according to the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but it's spontaneous. So the definition of Vaidhi in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is where the actions of bhakti arise not from the attainment of raga, attraction or desire, what did he say? Taste. But, rati is also given exactly, but by the teachings of scriptures it is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Kind of the scriptures say we are an eternal part of Krishna, eternal soul, and our eternal constitution is to serve Krishna in bhakti. Scriptures say, okay, let me do that. So, I'm just now thinking how to proceed the best way that it's logical. Yes. To come to what I said before, also to be kind on ourselves. So I'll go also to the definition of Raganuga Bhakti. But first, I like this very much. In the 11th canto it is said, if somehow or other, by good fortune, one develops faith in hearing and chanting my glories, such a person being neither very disgusted with or attached to material life, should achieve perfection through the path of loving devotion to me. So here, this understanding, because abiding by scriptures needs faith. It needs some faith, which is expected here. And another important quality for bhakti is mentioned here. It's a person neither being very disgusted with nor attached to material life. So too strong aversion, too strong to do tapasya, this material nature is not favorable for bhakti. Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani. And there also Rupa Goswami explains that at the beginning of bhakti, some austerity, some tapasya is needed because our heart is still very much connected to a material way of living and thinking. So it needs a bit of force, it needs a bit of strength to come away from that, to become situated more in bhakti. But at a certain level, it's very important in the process of bhakti that this is being taken over by a taste for bhakti. And then too much renunciation is not favorable for bhakti, because too much renunciation, Rupa Goswami describes, it has the tendency to make the heart hard. And that's the last thing we need for bhakti, a hard heart. Yeah. And then I like this verse a lot, which is then Jiva Goswami explains, and that's the one which also helps us to be a bit kind on ourselves. Having awakened faith, here again the faith, in the narrations of my glories, the Shastras, speaking about Krishna, being disgusted with all prescribed activities, varnashram. So had enough of varnashram, I want pure bhakti. Knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he sometimes engages in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. So we are all battling with our desire to enjoy this world, and we can tend to become quite strict and strong on ourselves if these tendencies come up. But here, I believe it's Krishna speaking to Uddhava. It's in the 11th canto, 20th chapter. I didn't look it up. Oh, no, it's not said. That Krishna is saying, be happy, don't worry. Practice devotional service and it will gradually go away. And also don't make a philosophy out of it. Sometimes we have the tendency, either we become very low self, oh, I'm such a bad devotee, I have so many material desires, or we make a philosophy out of it. No, I'm fine, I'm kind of, it's okay, it's justified to follow my material desires. No, that's the other side of maybe that's the very lenient devotee who say, no problem, like that, which usually we don't have too much in our movement. But sincerely repent such activities, and repenting is something different than low self-esteem. Minderwertigkeitsgefühl. Repenting is something you do in front of a person, in front of Krishna, where we feel, sorry Krishna, I'm not there yet. And then what is Krishna's response? Be happy, don't worry, it's okay, it's going to be fine. So time is going. I'd just like to, I had a bit of a very challenging or bold point to make, coming to Raganuga Bhakti. So in the Nectar of Devotion, or actually Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, to understand Raganuga Bhakti, first the so-called Ragatmika Bhaktis. These are devotees in Vrindavan, those who have Ragatmika, who are full of attachment, spontaneous, loving attachment to Krishna. So here actually it's the qualification for Raganuga Bhakti is as follows. That person who is greedy for attaining a path similar to that of the inhabitants of Vraj, who are fixed solely in Ragatmika Bhakti, is qualified for Raganuga Bhakti. So Raganuga Bhakti is often explained that once you come to such an attachment and you feel inspired by one of the devotees of Vrindavan, you start following him in his mood. You read about him, you hear about him like that. So I want to make a very bold statement that we all started devotional service with Raganuga Bhakti. So you're looking at me. And this is not based in some Shastra, this is based in my thinking about it, of this. Like if Bhakti Rasamrita is speaking that Vaidhi Bhakti is based on scriptural injunction, did we come to Bhakti and we grew up in a Vedic culture of understanding Shastra, of understanding Varnashram? My wife's shaking her head. She didn't. There may be, like in India, where in still pure families or regions, you may grow up in that, and you come to understanding by Shastral study, actually, oh yeah, Bhakti is supreme, I should do that. Then I start with Vaidhi Bhakti. We are all sitting here because we had no clue of Shastra and Varnashram. We are all sitting here because we were touched by Bhakti, by the association of devotees. Something sparked in our heart which made us like, wow, this is something which touches my heart, which I've never experienced before in this life, a taste I've never found in this world. Wow, there is something behind this. This is raga, this is some attraction. And I'm not proclaiming this is the highest levels of Raganuga Bhakti. I'm proclaiming that we came to devotional service because of some emotion, some feeling, some attraction, which is actually a part of Bhakti. I haven't found it, but it's confirmed by my spiritual master, which I had a talk when he was here in summer, that, and I want to make this point because I had this misconception. I grew up in ISKCON with the idea that you practice Vaidhi for many, many years and lifetimes and hundreds of lifetimes and thousands of lifetimes, and once you have a little attraction to Krishna, then you can go to Raganuga Bhakti, and that's wrong. Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga are two parallel paths which can start at the same spot. And I'm upset that I didn't have this understanding earlier. Because, and this is also confirmed by my spiritual master, Raganuga Bhakti, a very simple way of explaining it is follow your attraction. So we followed our attraction by coming to Krishna consciousness. So I made this bold statement. We started off with Raganuga Bhakti. And the idea there is, it's a very entry spot of Raganuga Bhakti. We read about Krishna, we hear about Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Leela, and we feel attracted to some of that. So stick with it. Take it in your sadhana, take it in your chanting. Oh, I read this yesterday of Krishna book, how Yashoda was angry with Krishna and she ran after him with a stick, and then she could bind him with the rope of love. Oh, that's so sweet. Bring it in your chanting. And that's or it's very individual, and that's why it said it's beyond the rules and regulations, because it's very individual. Someone might feel attracted to that with Yashoda. Someone may feel attracted to how Krishna deals with the cowherd boys. Someone may be attracted by how Krishna and the gopis, or someone may be attracted to Uddhava, who wanted to become a blade of grass in Vrindavan. Bring that into your meditation, to your chanting. It's called actually mantra maya upasana. And also Prabhupada actually established this everyday at deity greeting with 2 verses from Brahma Samhita, which are explicitly mentioned either, I think it's also by Rupa Goswami or Sanatana Goswami, that these are 2 main verses to meditate on Krishna. And Prabhupada took them and put them in the deity greeting. That's mantra maya upasana. How does it start? The Brahma Samhita, Venum Kanantam Aravinda Dalai, he has lotus eyes. Venum, he plays a flute. Venum Kvanintamaravindalaya Bharhavitam Samasitam. He has a peacock feather on his head. So these are all, and if we feel, oh, that's nice, I'm attracted to that, go with this attraction. And these are the first steps actually in Raganuga Bhakti. It's called Mantra Mayupasana, where we actually consciously use a mantra to meditate on Krishna. It's not happening in that sense. There's a spontaneous level of remembrance of Krishna. It just comes. It just bubbles out in your heart. That's a higher, very, very much higher level of Krishna consciousness. But if you feel these attractions with Krishna, note them down. What is that part in Shastra where you feel attracted to? You make them like your cherished jewels. Remember them while you chant, while you kirtan, while you do service. And then also another thing, aspect of that is we step into smaranam. We do shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam. Prabhupada mentions it in the purport. So that's the starting of smaranam, which also takes some practice. Okay. So we're already, time is there. I will end here. So we understand the Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavatam by devotional service only. That's the message of today's class. Hare Krishna. Is there any comments or questions? Oh yeah, look, Pavani.
We didn't hear the whole lecture, but just this last part, because this statement that you boldly made. But I was thinking about it while I was doing my service, and I would disagree a little bit, just because of the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, everybody's on different levels, that's also one thing, and there are like previous lives, but people come to Krishna consciousness, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 types of people who approach me. So therefore I would say that maybe some people did approach Krishna for, this reason of finding out the truth and so on, because they don't know at that point what is the truth. And I agree with following your emotions, but at that point we actually don't know anything. And also, like you were now mentioning, how our bhakti is anyway mixed. So I believe that at the beginning it's also like a mixture of everything, like because you're suffering in this world and then you want happiness because everyone is searching for happiness. So that's why I wouldn't say that it would be Raganuga Bhakti, in my opinion. I'm not saying that yours is wrong, I'm just sharing my thoughts about it. So like that's the only reason. And also one more thing is because like for me, my perception of Raganuga Bhakti is that it's selfless. Like it's selfless. And even like if I'm searching for happiness, like at the beginning I had a search for happiness, but it was a selfish search for happiness because I wanted something for myself. But my vision of Raganuga Bhakti is that I always want something for Krishna. So it's in that sense selfless. So, no? So that's just how I see it. I mean, because I need to understand first Krishna. I need some knowledge and then for my emotions to develop. So that's how I see it. And in that sense, I don't, because I'm sorry, I'm a little bit negative about the material world, also about people, please. So I think that today, especially in Kali Yuga, I mean, we're all very selfish. So that's why I don't believe that at the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, we came because of the Raganuga Bhakti. I can understand like maybe the pure attraction, because at the beginning when I started chanting, I would say I had more attraction for the holy name, but that's like the beginner's blessing. And then it got lost somewhere on the way. And I also understand that I feel that the innocence of the emotion gets spoiled with Vaidhi Bhakti. That's also true. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know the right answer. These are just some kind of my thoughts. But I just think that for Raganuga, I need to be selfless, and I think that people are selfish. So that's my point. Sorry.
So I was successful with my bold statement to invoke the other opinions and things like that. So yeah, please. Mm-hmm.
No, this is actually great. This is I would say the proof of a successful class. If it makes us questioning things that we heard and doubting and thinking, no, wait, I think like this. That means that's the perfect answer to any class. Like, oh, how do I relate to this? What I heard? It's not just like,
okay, I'm sitting here and someone is sitting on the Vyasasana and he's so many years a devotee, so I like, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah,
No,
thank you,
this
Loka Pavani.
is what Prabhupada wanted from us, not to be just the blind followers, but to question things and to have a personal understanding. So we are in a movement that is, or in the tradition that is the most personal of all. So we want to be personal. And even there are so many ways we can approach the scriptures and understand them. Even in bhakti. That's why we have different spiritual masters, because they have different moods, and we will be in the mood. So that was one thing. So can I just say, I'm so bad. I always like to. But it was very nice. It was very nice to bring this counter argument, and I understand you completely where you're coming from. And when you look at this verse from Bhagavad Gita, but you actually, when you were saying, I think, you actually proved his point, because you said, when we come, we don't know anything. And that was his point. He wanted to say, we don't join because of, we know what is good, what is proper to follow. We don't have any understanding of the Vaidhi, of the rules, of the regulations. But still we join. Why do we join? Even if you join for happiness, you think, there is some, I can find this happiness here because I see these people, they have some. So there is some, I'm twisting now here to make it. Yeah, I'm coming. But it's interesting I just thought, and just to come to that last point that you said, Raganuga is not selfish. We are made to believe that first we have to become completely selfless and pure in order to practice Raganuga. Raganuga really specifically means, so in that sense, it really means to follow in the footsteps of a particular resident of Braj who has rag, who has that attraction. So when he says we start with Raganuga, it's also a bit of we don't have actually in the mind, but raga is there, some taste is there. And just a moment now, I got it. Just where I was. And then, just a moment, there was a good point I wanted to make, but it escaped me, it doesn't matter. So in that sense, we're just starting with some taste. It's not exactly Raganuga as it's explained in the scriptures. That is there, but still I would, you said selfless, that was it. I like to listen to Hari Parshad, we both like, and he's by the way, he's in the ISKCON board for the Shastras. So he's someone who is really authority in ISKCON. GBC placed him there, and so he knows what he's speaking, he knows the scriptures. And he says that is what's coming from him. You don't have to be pure and you don't have to be selfless completely. That means selfless, pure, in order to practice Raganuga. No. You need to start somewhere. How will you get to that purity? So he says, not me, he says, you start. You read about Krishna, about the residents, and then where something sparks your attraction, you go into that, and then things will come. So these are his words. And just to be, when he spoke of Nityam, just to be fair to Hari Parsh, he said Nityam means once a day. Like if once a day, you remember, it's only once a day. And of course, not that this is what we want to be satisfied. We want to continue, but it even so that we can be kind to ourselves. But he said, you don't have to be selfless. So I'm just quoting him. I can even bring up that quote to you.
I just talked about my vision of it.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying what we heard, and that's why we're saying this. Thank you. It's nice. This is wonderful.
Yeah, I also like this discussion, but I think also I would agree with Loka Pavani Machi that I wouldn't call it Raganuga.
Okay.
And I'm not the authority, just my opinion again, but we would have to go into the definition. What is Raganuga really, right? But for me, it's something very pristine, definitely referring to rag towards Krishna and the Vrajvasis. Mm-hmm. So, depending again where you stand in your spiritual life, but generally speaking, I didn't have specific attraction in the wake of the Vrajvasis, how they serve Krishna. I would rather say it's you have the different stages of bhakti. There's 9, right? Shraddha to prema. And even in the beginning or at this moment, we can experience some bhav, some ruchi, even though we're not there, the pure thing. So then even in the beginning, that's what actually, I would say, maybe we have these glimpses of Sambhava, you know, and like we heard also Utsahamaya, this enthusiasm that comes, and that gives this attraction. But then in the context also of Raganuga Bhakti, I think that's a very important point that you're raising also, and you know, His Holiness Srila Shiva Maharaj, he also wrote a lot about this topic. And he also makes this point that actually the way Srila Prabhupada set up ISKCON is not in as a Vaidhi Sadhana institution. But even as we follow the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti that we're doing, it is all reflecting actually the Raganuga inside. And he phrased it like this, one second. You know, that we, like you say, the Govindam prayers, that we sing Chai Radha Madhav, that we sing Tulsi Arti. Yeah. But he says here that the Vaidhi Bhakti taught in ISKCON follows the regulations of devotional service given by Rupa Goswami. Its aim is the attainment of spontaneous ecstatic devotion. It is therefore a preliminary stage of spontaneous devotion, not one of eternal regulative devotion. Even though ISKCON's language reflects regulative devotion, the inner substance of all its activities reflects spontaneous devotion. And that's also why, right, when we say ISKCON, Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada called it the Krishna conscious society. And he took this word from this verse, right? Krishna Rakti Pasa, what is it? Krishna Bhakti.
Krishna Bhavanamrita, something like that.
Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati.
Bhavitama, yeah.
And then Tatra Lolyam Apimulya Mekalam. So the only way to obtain this Krishna consciousness is actual greed. And then this point is also there, yeah, that actually even Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about. I also always thought, you know, so you have to come to Nishta, at least be fixed, and then you can get to this direction and then get ruchi. But even also Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the scriptures, they speak about anartha nivritti, where we are basically practicing. Then you can already practice, but that's the point. You practice this kind of bhakti. It's not that you actually perform it, right? It's a sadhana. So Raganuga sadhana bhakti, right?
It's also sadhana.
Yeah, it's a sadhana. So
we can also do that sadhana.
right. But it requires good guidance. I think that's.
Yes.
Just some thoughts.
Thank you.
Let's continue.
Churning. Perfect. Don't say so.
Yes. Yeah. So I just wanted to say, because of my enthusiasm for deity worship, I mean, I just realized more and more I go like into the deity worship, or I read some books, and sometimes it's a little bit too much rules and regulations and things like that. But then when you read the books, like, for example, Govinda Lilamrita, who is not to be read at the beginning, but when you read it, like afterwards, then you're like, oh wow, I'm actually doing this every day, because actually this is, I don't know how to say it more better, but like enhancing me to actually have this meditation that is in the books of the 6 Goswamis. So that's why I also agree with Shishashtakam that it's not completely Vaidhi. It's just somehow, it's many things. And if you look at it deeper, like you can see that actually whatever we do is here for us to meditate on Krishna and actually to go into the pastimes of Vrindavan. So I think that's nice. So I just wanted to say how I discovered it more, like for example in deity service than in chanting the Maha Mantra, because I don't have taste still. So I just want to encourage also devotees to do more service. And so that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Jai. Thank you. Can I just want to express my gratitude for your contributions, because it really, especially now, you were speaking on what Shikshastakam Prabhu said, but what you read there, that actually this goal of spontaneous devotional service woven into our so-called Vaidhi sadhana is very beautiful. What he said there, it's very nice. I believe I'm maybe a bit of an older generation devotee who is a bit traumatized by very strong emphasis on rules and regulations, and I want to break out of that a bit. So that's why I'm a bit.
Because we are doing every day what the residents of Vrindavan are doing.
Yeah.
They're chanting Krishna's name, they're thinking about Krishna, they're also cooking for him, they're also dressing him. So, like when I dress the deities, I'm doing, like, I'm not saying that I'm doing, but it's similar to what Krishna's friends are doing, because they come to the house of Madhya Shoda and they help her with, dressing. And then when we sing the Mangala prayers, it's the melody of that is sang for Krishna. Krishna when he wakes up. So there's so many things that we actually do, and when we connect them, it's a mercy of Krishna that we can actually. I mean, in the spiritual world we will do it, but we're doing it already now. So
Mhm.
it's very nice.
And I just wanted to connect, to continue where, because you said it so nicely, and also it proves that, what not proves, but it makes the same point like what you just read. Prabhupada is such a genius.
Yeah.
He didn't have enough time to explain to us everything, but that's why he integrated in our daily practices. That, like, just go now and read the Tulsi prayers. We are praying there every day for the highest thing, and he just, so as you said, we are given this whole process by Prabhupada in such a way that actually we are already practicing Raganuga in a, practicing, right? So just that.
Thank you very much for this discussion. As I know, you grew up from devotee parents as well, right? Or no?
No, not really, no,
Okay.
no.
I was just reflecting that actually I could, like for me it was very much like that in the beginning I was only doing out of pleasure actually.
Out
devotional
of?
service.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I was enjoying,
Parents who are
yeah.
Yeah.
I was enjoying everything, and we did like everything that I do was just out of pleasure actually, and then more rules and regulations came and so on, and it actually sometimes I'm thinking of it like, is it actually a step backwards? Of course not, because a spiritual teacher wants us to do like this, and we become like more steady, more fixed. As you said, like every day we do certain things and so on. Maybe as kids we didn't do, but yeah, for example, how I saw my deities that I got, like I got my Gopal when I was 10.
Wow.
And I was worshipping him every day, and it was even like it was much more natural and more out of love than nowadays actually. So for me it was
You
I-
didn't
I
worship
was
Gopal
actually-
because someone told you to worship, you just
no, not
wanted
at
to.
all, yeah.
That's amazing.
And I didn't do
So
like,
amazing.
I didn't know anything. So it's like sometimes I'm wondering that I understand this point of view, like we only can do something actually if it's out of love.
Mhm.
But then if it's pure or not, we don't know, of course. But yeah, I just want to
Mhm.
add that. Yeah, I also thought that you were growing up in Krishna consciousness, and then it's like more likely to think like that.
Oh no, no. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up in Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Time is there, or the hunger is also there. So thank you very much. I very much appreciate your contributions and your thoughts on this, and thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Oh Krishna, Krishna, Prabhupada ki jai.
No, Raganuga is very, not to make you confused, but Raganuga is, like he said, very specific. That really means you have found your attraction for one particular resident or group of residents of Braj, and you're following.
What does the literal translation of
Raga means attraction, and anuga means to follow. So you are following those who have the attraction. You're following those who have ragatika, are those who have the attraction. They are the Braj residents, and nugas are those who follow them, who have raga.
But if Raga and Nuga, like the literal meaning only means to follow those who have attraction, everyone gets bhakti through a person who has bhakti. So it's actually true.
It's true, yeah, and that's why we follow. We
Yeah.
follow them.
Of course, if it's
Guru.
like the bhakti is really only towards Krishna, and I wouldn't say that in the beginning of the
But he was making the point that Israel is maybe there was a miracle. There is Raga, there was a flash. He expanded it a bit to make it a bit more bold and to make it a bit more.
Kan man få det sørste på det?
Well, I'm sure that it
Ja, nej, det er godt. Så,
Vil det findes viktig
you naturally have it. You already have it. It's just not probably so many times I said it's already there in the heart. We're not putting anything new in the heart. It already exists in the heart and the very meaning. It's just covered up. So bhakti is there. So in the common when you it's there, it's just maybe not yet that pure, it's maybe not that uncovered, but bhakti is there. If we don't, that is a prophet. I'm sure if we would not look into it, we can find it. Prophet says, he says it's already, it's dormant in the heart or in the living being. It's nothing new. So bhakti is there. So even a new person can come and offer a flower with the genuine feeling.
Isn't that because we start, I mean, over the years, you mentioned when you were like, you could feel more attachment because you treat everything with pleasure. Is it not once we grow up, it's like we should collect everything from outside, and that's why we get in a way polluted?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I really miss this. Of course, I still do sometimes. Not that someone tells me something.
ich habe mein Gefühl, ich habe schon auch wirklich
But it's
Ja.
so much more that I
Ich habe das Gefühl, dass ich nirgends irgendwo willkommen bin. So.